FYI Nation can now be heard on your favorite Android or Apple phone. Simply go to FYINation.com and scan the QR code at the bottom of the page to download the app. FYINation.com radio player app is commercial free thanks to your Patreon contributions at FYINation.com. If you have a smart device, you can also listen to FYINation.com as a skill on your Alexa or Google Home smart devices. FYI Nation now has more ways than ever to listen to shows like mine, the Thom Hartmann Program, commercial free every day.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the program. And of course, my screen is froze as I go live because, technology is such a wonderful thing, and cannot have a technical issue on the show you come back from after having a whole bunch of technical issues, personal issues, everything else issues, and I'm in a good mood. So of course something has to rattle my cage, right? We can't just start off the show with something being okay for Tom, right? We have to go batshit crazy right from the beginning. Um, that's what I get for trying to be prepared. Like I started the show a little early for the YouTube folks. I ran the Thom Hartmann commercial. I thought everything was going great, and then Pachukabok. Yeah, Pachukabok. I made up a new word. I don't know what it means, but it has to do with everything just screwing up, and there's that. So Pachukabok is where we're at. So speaking of Bajugabot, new word, Kevin McCarthy. Look. I know we're gonna talk about Alex Jones. Um, I'm we're gonna talk about Alex Jones. I promise. It's there. It's there to be talked about. So we're definitely gonna do it. The thing is, I want to talk about like stuff that um is not clickbait. And Alex Jones is clickbait. He's pure clickbait. He is pure unadulterated clickbait. And I can't see my towers. There they are. I'm cock blocking my Twin Towers picture, and it's annoying me. Alright, there we go. That's a lot better. And now my face is being blocked. Alright, there we go. A little strategery there with the camera. Uh, I am in a terribly good mood compared to last week, which is nice. I got some things taken care of. Hi, Nadir. Um, and everything is going well. But let's talk about Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy is not going well. He is not having a good show of it. Uh, but he's putting on a strong face, as you do when you're the next uh, leader of the House of Representatives if Kevin McCarthy gets his way and Donald Trump gets his way. Because as we've talked about before, Donald Trump does not want the job, as he said in an interview. But Kevin McCarthy does want this job. And Kevin McCarthy is a mini Donald Trump. He is basically puppeting uh Donald Trump here. This is going to get stronger and rougher, and what we really need to have happen is Ukraine is not asking for American men and women to fight. All they're asking for is weapons to defend themselves. He told Mike Emanuel on Fox News Sunday, if we would have taken those actions earlier instead of waiting until after Russia invaded, they would have probably never invaded had we done that sooner, McCarthy added. So there's Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy is taking the view that, okay, here we are. It wouldn't have never happened, not if Donald Trump was in control, because you would expect him to say that, but had Putin seen us arming Ukraine before, they would have criticized that. But now they're like, why didn't you do that? Why didn't you go off and save thousands of lives by arming, I don't know, Ukraine first? And as it's nice to have hindsight, but nobody in the Republican Party was calling for this. In fact, everybody in the Republican Party was doing the Donald Trump thing. Donald Trump talking about how smart Putin was, talking about how genius Putin was, talking about, Putin is being harassed by the Ukrainians. If Putin and Ukraine would just, I don't know, come to an agreement, this wouldn't be an issue. And if Ukraine would just bend the knee to Putin, there would be no need for Putin to invade. You see? This is where we were at with the Republican Party. And they forget that. They block that out of their memory. It's only been a few months and they're already blocking out their past love of Putin. Now they're saying, well, have we only called for more arms for Ukraine? Had we only done that sooner? Now imagine Joe Biden interfering with a sovereign nation before anything had happened and wanting to spend all this money and resources on Ukraine before anything happened. Kevin McCarthy, Mitch McConnell, and alike would be screaming from the rooftops, all you're going to do is agitate Putin. Why are you trying to goad Putin? Blah, 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 Putin. This, that, and the other thing. They would be going crazy if Joe Biden, from the onset, was like, here, have all the weapons. Here, MiGs, whatever you want. Just weapons. The Republican Party would then be saying, oh my God, you are poking the bear and you are going to inflict Ukrainians all this pain. Because now, not only is he mad at us, he's mad at them already, but he's going to be mad at us. You see what I'm saying? So there's no winning with the Republicans. And it's all a lie. It's not based on any fact. It's not based on any truth here. You see, it's based on a false analogy that somehow, one, the Republicans would have allowed it to happen. Right? They would have been like, yeah, give Ukraine all the weapons. Yeah. We're not completely enamored with Putin, so give him all the weapons. And you know what? No consequences to Joe Biden. We're not going to talk trash about Joe Biden. We want him to have all the weapons. What do you think the messaging would be if Joe Biden, president, decided, okay, we'll give Ukraine all the weapons, and we'll do it before an invasion even happens, before any provocation even happens? They would have gone mental. They would have gone absolutely mental. And it is crazy to think otherwise. Because they're all part of Donald Trump. They have no original ideas. And Kevin McCarthy is the least original of all of them. And he's the biggest idiot they have. And he wants to be Speaker. And he very well may be Speaker of the House. Which should scare the bejesus out of you, by the way. It should, I don't know, frighten you to death, maybe? I'm just saying. It frightens me to death. I mean, here it is, this idiot is 3 steps away from being president of the United States. He makes George W. Bush look smart. I mean, this is what the parrot had to say, and we'll get to it. On Fox News about NATO, because the Republicans, lots of them, voted against funding of NATO and helping out NATO. And Fox News anchor Mike Emanuel grilled him on it. He was like, "What do you think about this?" And instead of actually answering the question, Kevin McCarthy went full Trump mode. Here he is.
Today.
Last week, 63 House Republicans voted against a symbolic resolution of unequivocal support for NATO. Are your colleagues wrong on this one?
No, there's a strong support for NATO of moving forward. Always has been.
Wait, where is that? Where is that strong support? Where is that strong support for NATO? And yes, I know I froze. I'm in the process of fixing it. Where is that strong support for NATO? Where is that wonderful support that we're supposed to be seeing for NATO from the Republicans? Even in this statement, he bashes NATO. He goes after NATO and says, well, they need to pay their fair share, which is ironic considering the progressives on the regular are saying billionaires need to pay their fair share of taxes. This is the only, NATO is literally the only place where he wants them to pay their fair share. The only place. And it should frighten you. It should bother you. It bothers me. So let's go back to the video.
It is the process of defending themselves, but the one thing we need to make sure these NATO countries spend the money more than 2%. In Romania, they're spending 2.5%. Mm-hmm. There is a desire there because they see on the forefront, on their borders, what is happening. We haven't seen any atrocities like this before since World War II. And there's no thought that Putin is going to stop here. What has Putin done? He's consolidated his troops. He's brought in one of the most ruthless generals out of Syria with one of the worst reputations to start entering, to try to take over the Black Sea, to control Ukraine, their inability to supply food to the world as well. This affects everybody. That's why we should stand up for Ukraine and provide them the weapons to defend themselves, or Putin cannot continue to do these atrocities.
So, what does he want to continue to do? He wants to tell NATO to continue, and my video froze yet again. My apologies. Let me fix it yet again. And he wants to continually talk trash about NATO. And he wants to continually make Putin out to be the strongman, authoritarian, which he is, by the way. You know, and there are these Republican idiots out there who, as Jim says, I believe every word McCarthy says. Well, if you do, that should be a scary thing. Hi, Jim. It should scare everybody for those who believe every word Kevin McCarthy says. Because he's an idiot. He's a buffoon. And you're damned if... And he didn't answer the question. The 63 Republicans, I think it was, they don't support NATO. They did it in a row. And that shows the Republican willingness to go against our allies in a time of war. So back to his other point that we were talking about in the Hill article, where Kevin McCarthy says, well, if we just gave Ukraine the weapons beforehand, what Republican would support that? Name me one. Joe Manchin doesn't count. Name me a Republican that would support that. Arming the Republican Party, or arming the Ukraine Party. The Republican Party is already armed with guns. They don't need any more guns. They have plenty of AR-15s. They like to show and tell all the time on their right-wing networks that they have plenty of AR-15s. That is definitely not a problem. The problem that we have is we have the problem of the right wing playing this flip-flop game of 1 minute it's don't poke the Russian bear, Ukraine. Don't poke the Russian bear, Ukraine. Don't poke the Russian bear. And then the next minute is, well, if we only gave Ukraine the weapons earlier, Ukraine would have been able to prevent Russia from invading in the first place. Well, what happened to preventing anything from starting in the beginning of it? By provoking the Russian bear. Because that's their whole mantra. Don't make Putin mad. Don't make him mad. They don't want to make a totalitarian mad. They just want to play grab hands with them and see how much money they can get out of them. And go on their merry way. And take notes on how to be a more totalitarian government and fascist regime as you move on. This is what they do. You know? This is not anything new. And damn straight, great point. Jim points out they forgot that Trump had to be overruled to send weapons to Ukraine. Again, don't make Putin mad. Don't make Putin mad. Oi, we'll be right back. That was my time. Love that. That's all. That's all that got to on this show, yeah, we're in time. For Nosey, the whole my name is Tom. Goodbye.
I'm Dr. Anthony Leisowitz, and this is Climate Connections. The Biden administration has set a goal that half of all new cars sold in the U.S. will be electric by 2030. And many states are creating plans to encourage drivers to make the switch. Christian Mitchell is Deputy Governor for Public Safety, Infrastructure, Energy, and the Environment in Illinois.
The governor has a very exciting goal around electric vehicles. We want to have 1 million electric vehicles on the road by 2030, and we are attacking that from all ends. On the cost side, we're providing a $4,000 incentive for consumers to go out and buy an electric vehicle.
Combined with federal tax credits, that can lower the price of an EV by more than $10,000. But cost is not the only barrier to EV adoption. Some drivers are hesitant to go electric because they're worried they'll run out of battery power on longer drives.
The question is, can I take an electric vehicle from start to finish? How do I make sure there are enough chargers between here and there to know that I can get to my destination with reasonable reliability?
So to help expand charging infrastructure, the state will offer rebates and grants to cover up to 80% of the cost of installing new charging stations. Mitchell says the investments will help position Illinois as a leader in the transition to electric vehicles. Climate Connections is produced by the Yale Center for Environmental Communication. To hear more stories like this, visit climateconnections.org.
alive. I'm here. I'm queer, and get used to it. Hi, how are you? Kevin McCarthy, still the stupidest person in Washington D.C. Dumbest man on the planet, probably. He is so stupid. He makes me look like a genius, and I'm not in Congress, and that's hard to do. And I have some stupid idiot things that I have done. I will tell you for that much. So there's that. I have done some wicked dumbass things. That being said, we're moving right along here. And I'm happy to have you. And little personal aside, the 25th of April, I am working to go to New York City. And hopefully meet the great, wonderful, amazing, talented Tara Devlin for the very first time in New York City. Ron Placone, because Ron Placone is going to have his show there. So I am hoping that all will go well and I'll be able to go down there. But I'm not sure about show status for Tuesday. The Tuesday show is up in the air. The Monday show will do because I don't have to leave until noontime to get down to New York City. But the Tuesday show status, I don't know. And this is my first attempt at doing anything post-COVID. So there's that. But yeah, Jim points out, let's rewrite history. This is what they do. The Republicans constantly rewriting history. And it's typical. It's typical behavior. They would not have had one single Republican would have allowed the Ukrainians to get. I always feel like I'm saying that wrong. Ukrainians don't want to be offensive. Don't want to be tagged by the YouTube bots. So the Biden administration, for its part, has provided Ukraine with more than $3.2 billion with a B in security assistance, which includes $2.6 billion since the invasion began. The aid has included anti-tank weapons, unmanned drones, small arms, ammunition, and defense equipment. So, what else? McCarthy is upset because the MiG-29s aren't going there. Come on. This is idiocy. It's not tenable to make this happen. And Biden is right to not allow it to happen. Do what you can and move on. But these guys in the Republican Party are going to just criticize and say, oh, they're not doing enough. Oh, if they just did more. Oh, forget that Donald Trump was impeached over a fake server allegation to get Ukraine to do something about it, to investigate Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party and help him win an election. And he was the one withholding all the damn weaponry. That was him. And even John Bolton, who I am no fan of, we have had and played tape on the show. And I don't have it readily at the click. I didn't say click, but I just did. So at the click, I have it regularly at the click, where Josh Bolton is saying that, well, sure, Donald Trump did all these things, but Donald Trump only did all these things because there was practically a gun to his head to do them. He didn't actually want to do these things. He wanted to bend the knee to Vladimir Putin because for whatever reason, whether it be a casino deal or a P-tape or a trade for Ivanka lookalike, whatever reason, Donald Trump felt it necessary to be reek, Game of Thrones reference, to Vladimir Putin. And so you get Donald Trump being reek to Vladimir Putin, you get the whole Republican Party being reek to Vladimir Putin. You get them all down, and they're happy about it. They are happy to bend the knee. And Vladimir didn't even have to castrate him to do it. He'd be like, yes, sir, I'll do it for you. Yes, sirree. Oh, you don't have to pay up anything. We'll just we like this sort of thing. You hate trans people, you hate gays, you hate abortion, we're with you. You love totalitarianism, you are totalitarian, oh, we're with you. And you're white, oh, you got all the check marks there, buddy. Forget about the fact that we can't understand a word you're fucking saying. Never mind any of that. But you dotted all our I's, crossed all our T's, and we are with you, Vlad. We are with you. That's the Republican Party I know and love. Ha! Love like, love to hate. That being said, Jim brought up a valid point. They are willing to rewrite history when it suits them. Same guy who never knows anybody when they get caught doing something for him. I don't know who that person is. I hardly knew ya. Really? Really? Are you kidding me? I can't fathom how this is something that is constantly a thing that is allowed to happen, except for the corporate media continuously, just allowing on a regular basis, on a regular cycle, allow for clickbait and the bottom line to have fraud perpetuated on them and on the American people. The Republican Party is a fraudulent party on the American people. And that's all there is to it. We'll be right back after this. And, wow, coronavirus. It should be interesting. It's so far, so good. Nosey Liberal, my name is Tom Reynolds. You're listening live, and we are back.
Hi, I'm Laura Flanders of The Laura Flanders Show, where I interview the best thinkers and doers of our time. On TV, the show premieres Sundays at 11:30 Eastern on PBS World and at the Laura Flanders Show YouTube channel. You can join my guests and me every week there in the live viewing party, and then catch us all week on public television stations. Prefer to listen? Find us on a radio station near you or subscribe to the free podcast. You'll find listings and ways to subscribe at lauraflanders.org. That's also where you'll receive my regular commentaries. I call them the F word. Here's this week's. In the middle of a brutal assault, it's difficult to talk about demilitarization, and so it was with trepidation that I convened a conversation about exactly that this month. One of my guests, Anastasia Lukhina, a war refugee from Ukraine, has a degree in peace building from Notre Dame University. In regular times, she said, she'd describe herself as a sort of peacenik, but now, quote, considering the situation and the losses we have on the ground, we really need military assistance, and we really need modern warfare, and we need as much of it as we can get as soon as possible, she said. More warfare is certainly coming, even if Russian forces draw back from Kyiv and negotiations reach a deal. The conflict's already seen massive growth in weapons spending by the EU and NATO, even by countries like Germany and Denmark, who've been spending down for years. Russian spending is up and the US leads the pack. The Biden administration's proposed Pentagon budget for 2023 stands at $813 billion, bigger in real terms than ever before and as bloated as ever. And spending on Ukraine is only a tiny fraction of it. As Phyllis Bennis of the Institute for Policy Studies pointed out, the payment of billions of dollars on new weapons systems failed to prevent Russia's invasion. Indeed, Vladimir Putin used NATO's buildup as one of his excuses for it. As Phyllis put it on air, while there's an inevitable urgency for all things military right now, we know that greater militarization creates more problems afterwards. The idea of a neutral Ukrainian state gets fainter with every war crime. But if the US and NATO resume their military exercises in Ukraine, the risk of war with Russia will stay with us. In the end, my guests agreed that what's needed for a sustainable peace will be a victory in the war and an equal investment in the architecture of peace, and not just the president-to-president kind, but the people-to-people sort. Gesturing to a book on his shelf published by anti-war activists in 1913, Dmitry Makarov, zooming in from Russia, suggested that in today's interconnected world, we're much better equipped to communicate globally now than we ever were, and every local crisis has global implications. Could the OSCE, the UN, or the Council of Europe be empowered to monitor and constrain not just Russia's arms deals, but everyone's? Could today's sanctions regime provide a model? Conversations like this aren't easy, but we're going to need more of them, and they won't come on media networks underwritten by arms manufacturers. That's why I'm happy to be launching Season 3 of The Laura Flanders Show on PBS stations this week. Scholars of authoritarianism say that mind control begins with the limiting of options, a lopping off of a whole set of realities and choices. Dissenters say that what makes a difference is practice. And this conversation felt like practice. Practice in holding two things together at the same time. The need to stop this war and to work across national boundaries to prevent the next one. You can find my conversation with Ukrainian professor Anastasia Lukhina, Russian human rights defender Dmitry Makarov, and Phyllis Bennis, director of the New Internationalism Project at the Institute for Policy Studies, on PBS stations this week, or find it on YouTube. For The Laura Flanders Show, I'm Laura. Thanks for listening.
Hey, ho, ho, everybody. Welcome back to the program. We are here. We are live. Yeah. Hi. How are you? Everybody having a good day? Do you have a good Easter, Passover, Ramadan? I can't say that damn word. You know what I'm talking about. Ramadan. As I get thrown off a plane. I'm not a religious person. Can you tell? Yeah. I think I proved that one pretty succinctly that I'm not a religious person, but that's okay. We're here, we're live. Let's see. I guess what we're talking about principally is the Republican Party and their willingness to rewrite history and just make it brand new, as if the impeachment never happened, as if Donald Trump was a good president, as if Kevin McCarthy was the smartest speaker to be in the world, and we have nothing to fear but fear itself. And let's not forget that Ronald Reagan never did anything bad, but get in the way of a bullet. Bad joke. I know. No, look, it's plain and simple here. We have a situation where we have the Republican Party, and they are a complete and total mess. They are a complete and total fabrication of the truth. And yet here they are, winning these polls and doing well because the corporate media loves this little gotcha game. They like the gotcha game. They like the clickbait. They like the who's winning, who's losing, who's doing this, who's doing that. Da, 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 da. And Kevin McCarthy could stand to be the next, oh my God, leader and speaker of the freaking house. I'm flabbergasted here. I don't know what to say. And I'm a talk show host, so I should have something to say. This guy who thinks that giving MiGs to Ukraine was somehow a great idea. Yeah, you want to tell me about poking the Russian bear? Let's just poke him with some MiGs. I mean, the MiGs idea was honestly about as good as the Donald Trump idea, where we just paint our planes with the Chinese flag. Paint them with the Chinese flag. Remember he said this? We talked about this on the show. Paint them with the Chinese flag, the commie flag, and have them bomb Russia. I almost wanted John McCain land with bomb Iran. I remember those days. Those days. I mean, Jesus. This is crazy talk. It's like, in one sense, they can't help themselves to want to arm these people, which is, when you're fighting for your freedom and for your life, that's against a totalitarian state. That's a good thing to do. But on the other sense, in the same breath, they are standing with the totalitarian state, and they're saying to the totalitarian state, "Oh, we get you. We understand your position and why having Ukraine and having all these foreign NATO states is what you deserve to have happen. We totally get you. We get you." It's like being the worst marriage counselor ever. It's like recognizing there is a beating in the relationship going on, and the wife is getting beaten, the wife is getting beat, and the wife is getting beat. And your therapist there is just like insisting that you talk it through. The therapist is insisting you talk it through, and you go and you continue the therapy, and you do not do anything to damage the relationship. Because that would be the problem. As opposed to the guy beating the person in the relationship. And yes, I said guy because I'm a misogynistic bastard. And it's usually a guy, isn't it, though? I mean, okay, there are some abusive women, yada, 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 but come on. It's usually the guy. Let's be honest about that. The guy's usually the dickhead. If we're honest, I mean, look at Donald Trump and Mr. P-Tape himself. It's usually the guy who is the dickhead. So, here we have, whoa, just knocking that out of the ballpark. Here we have the problem with the Republican Party acting as they do. And it's just like, oh my God. You wouldn't want to help Ukraine while Trump was president. So you're gonna suddenly help them now? I mean, come on, give me a break. I'm astonished that people buy into this nonsense from the Republican Party, and the ongoing what is it? Watermark is the wrong word. The ongoing thesis to the Republican Party is that the Republican Party has everything when it comes to foreign policy. Like they are the leaders. They are the strongmen. They know how to handle foreign policy, and you need to just trust the Republican Party. They don't know which side is up, let alone foreign policy. You got guys like Donald Trump and Kevin McCarthy. Oh my God, it'll be blown up in like 2 weeks. And I'm still shocked. This all didn't happen under his watch. But let's be honest, Putin was just buying time. Putin was waiting for the right moment. It was going to happen whether it's Donald Trump or Joe Biden. Putin was just waiting for his March Z moment. And the real victor in all this, let's not kid ourselves. The real victor in all this is not Ukrainians when they declare victory because they sunk a Russian battleship. Yay, Ukraine. Is not refugees who find safety in crossing the border. It's none of that. All right? The real winners in all this is the industrial military complex. They are the true victors in this. They get the weapons money from both sides, whether it's the Chinese or the Americans. And they go and take it to the bank and they make so many millions and millions of dollars. While innocent people, get slaughtered, get raped, get mutilated around the globe. Eisenhower warned us, we didn't pay attention, and here we are. The bad guy, as bad as Putin is, and as wonderful as Zelensky is, as wonderful as Zelensky is nothing to do with any of that. It's the military-industrial complex. They're the winners in this. They get the arms race, they get the money, they get the billions, and they will be able to they will, Zelensky may not be wonderful in your eyes, but he's far cry better than Putin. And he's not going off invading other countries. So there's that. Jim says as long as capitalism sets the priorities, we can't advance as a species. Absolutely. Malik, I would love. Please tell me how. I'll read it. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna. Please tell me how Zelensky is far worse than Putin. I would. Putin is good. In which part? The part where they attacked a nuclear facility or held it hostage? Which part? Or was that the Ukrainians staging that? Is that what you're going to tell me next? Zelensky allowed the Bandites of Ukraine to fester and gain control of his military. Oh, I love Russian trolls. Please prove to me you're not a Russian troll. Because, I would love it. And leave Zelensky out of it for a minute. Let's just go with Putin. Let's go with Putin. Putin has a track record of, okay, you're Moroccan and not Russian and you live in the UK. Okay, great. Putin is not the winner in this. All right? Putin is, I'm sorry, has no right to be doing what he's doing, just as the Americans had no right to go into Iraq and do what they did in Iraq and in Afghanistan and everything else. But unfortunately, when you have all the guns and are a nuclear power, you get to go into other countries and say you're going to settle things. And that's how they do it on the world stage. I really, I know what the Russian motivations are, and I don't buy into them. That he's not seeing that he's protecting that they're going in and after. It's ludicrous. It really is. It doesn't matter what I'm thinking right now. I'm more interested in what you're thinking, because you seem to think that going into a sovereign nation is an okay thing to do for any country. See, I have a problem with any country going into another sovereign nation and declaring it theirs. A problem. I don't give a shit about the motivations. I can conclude the invasion was bad because as of what I just said. If you listen to what I just said instead of typing your argument, you would have known. What I'm saying is, any sovereign nation going into another sovereign nation to cleanse it of its demons, if you will, is a bad motivation to me. It's you wait a minute. You see, on BBC, I watch BBC News too. So you're telling me you see presenters? You see, I'm not looking. You're not listening, Malik, and I'm about to turn you off because it's not right. But we're gonna take a break and we'll come right back. You're pissing me off, and I'll tell you why. We'll be right back.
I'm Dr. Anthony Lizowitz, and this is Climate Connections. The Biden administration has set a goal that half of all new cars sold in the U.S. will be electric by 2030. And many states are creating plans to encourage drivers to make the switch. Christian Mitchell is Deputy Governor for Public Safety, Infrastructure, Energy, and the Environment in Illinois.
The governor has a very exciting goal around electric vehicles. We want to have 1 million electric vehicles on the road by 2030, and we are attacking that from all ends. On the cost side, we're providing a $4,000 incentive for consumers to go out and buy an electric vehicle.
Combined with federal tax credits, that can lower the price of an EV by more than $10,000. But cost is not the only barrier to EV adoption. Some drivers are hesitant to go electric because they're worried they'll run out of battery power on longer drives.
The question is, can I take an electric vehicle from start to finish? How do I make sure there are enough chargers between here and there to know that I can get to my destination with reasonable reliability?
So to help expand charging infrastructure, the state will offer rebates and grants to cover up to 80% of the cost of installing new charging stations. Mitchell says the investments will help position Illinois as a leader in the transition to electric vehicles. Climate Connections is produced by the Yale Center for Environmental Communication. To hear more stories like this, visit climateconnections.org.
Okay, everybody, welcome back to FYNation.com. My name is Tom Reynolds. This is the Nosey Liberal. I am with Malik, and we are live, and he's on Twitch. I'm on YouTube, Twitch, FYNation.com, our streaming channel on Roku. You can find us everywhere. He is not listening to what I said, and I'll move on after, because host, chat room bot, and bot or not, the behavior is kind of like that. When any country, whether it be the USA, whether it be Germany, whether it be France, whether it be Russia, whether it be whatever ever the country is, their motivations to invade another sovereign country, I don't care what the motivations are. It's not good for the country. The Iraq War was not good for the United States. All right? Real simple. Germany invading Poland was not good for Poland or Germany. Whatever their motivations. And by the way, Germany had the same motivations in World War II. Oh, I recall, we are preserving the Reich and having breathing space, and there are people here who speak German, and we want to make sure that they are preserved, yada, yada, yada. And then Russia came in, and we're doing the same thing. And I'm sorry, we're not stupid here, Malik. And I'm glad you thought I was like a BBC presenter. It doesn't matter to me the motivations of Vladimir Putin, a dictator who has laws that if you speak out against the war for 15 years, you go to prison. I have no qualms with telling a guy like that to go fuck himself. That is what you'll get here. An honest discussion, you will see that this reasoning, protecting the Donbass area because they all speak Russian, and we're trying to protect the Russians in Donbass, and it's like, I heard that during World War II, dude, and 6 million Jews got fucking slaughtered. I'm not accepting it. I heard it with America going into Iraq. We have to go and get the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. That's what we got to get the weapons of mass destruction and protect the Kurds. There's always somebody there. Kuwait, the Iraq War. We got to go protect the Kuwaitis. Vietnam, we have to protect the Vietnamese. Everybody always has the best goddamn motivation for war. Kiss my ass. I'm saying it's a wholly fucking bad idea. That's what I'm saying. I don't give a shit about your motivations. You could have the best goddamn motivations in the world. The minute you walk into the soil of another sovereign country, you have issues. And 9 times out of 10, they are not the righteous issue and motivation that is being proclaimed by Vladimir Putin. Oh, that is so great. He's protecting the people of Donbass. Well, why did he go into Kiev? Or Kiev? Why did he go into Kiev? That's not anywhere near where Donbass is. He could have gone any other place, any other way. He wanted to annihilate the people of Ukraine. Anybody who thinks otherwise, no one went into. There was shelling in Kiev. Oh my God. I'm done with you. You're not getting away with this on my channel. I'm done with you. There's no one on it. Dude, read up, man. You're poison. And you still didn't listen. So I'm done with you. Watch the show, don't watch the show, but we're done back and forth because you oh my god. I'll be a BBC presenter then. I can't handle your rewriting of history that happened just this month. You're as bad as a Republican. You're as bad as Donald Trump saying, well, gave them all the weapons. They just asked for them, and we gave them to them right on the phone call. There was nothing wrong with the phone call. I wasn't holding the weapons hostage. Dude, you were. Oh my god. And again, I'm sorry, take any of these baddies out of it. You go into another 9 times out of 10. The reason for invading a country, Argentina. Argentina went into the Falklands. Because they believed it was theirs. The British came rushing in. Doesn't matter which side was right. The land should be. It doesn't matter. You know. Yeah. Okay. Malik. I can't with you. Maybe you're right that the Russians didn't step a whole military battalion into Kyiv, but what you're saying, dude, I'm sorry, we're done. We're you're you know, yeah, but okay, so again, even you know what? I don't know why I'm entertaining you. I don't know why I'm entertaining you. Even if no one soldier, and this is all I'm going to say on it, even if no one soldier entered Kyiv, plenty of bombs did. And they entered enough of the region to be dude, I know the mainstream narrative lies. But you're not doing too good on the truth either. You're a horrible ambassador for whatever you're trying to educate me on. Oh my god. All right, I'm reading what you're trying to say, and it's taking away from the show, and I'm not going to respond anymore. That part is done, and we don't have enough time to go into another story. I will just say, Malik, great talking to you. If you want to continue to watch the show, go ahead, be my guest. We'll be back after the top of the hour. I'm going to be great. Alex Jones coming up next. I don't need to be educated. No. And it's not because you're a communist. I actually we'll be right back.
This vegetable can clean drinking water. That story and more on H2O Radio's weekly news report I'm Jamie Sudler.
I'm Franny Halprin, and it's This Week in Water.
Imagine an entire city block of 6-story apartment buildings disappearing into a sinkhole 90 feet deep.
That's the size of a depression that scientists discovered underwater in the Arctic Ocean as permafrost thaws and changes the seafloor.
We usually think of permafrost as frozen ground on the Earth's surface, but it can also be found at the bottom of the sea.
According to a study led by the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute, permafrost has been hidden under the Canadian Beaufort Sea since the last ice age 12,000 years ago. But as the sea ice retreats, researchers have been able to travel to the area and map the seafloor.
The study describes how the melting is not from the atmosphere above, but from warmer groundwater below that degrades the permafrost in a long-term process that has been happening for millennia. As it melts, the permafrost under the Arctic Ocean shrinks and collapses.
The researchers say the thawing of the undersea permafrost may not be due to human-caused climate change, but it could have a profound effect on global warming, depending on how much greenhouse gas it contains and if and when it's released. Noise traveling underwater is important for marine life. Cetaceans like whales and dolphins send and receive complex sounds to communicate, navigate, and feed, as do many fish and invertebrates.
But a new study shows that climate change will warm waters, affecting the speed that sounds travel in the ocean. Scientists led by Memorial University of Newfoundland and Labrador found that in some places, the speed of noises will increase by about 55 miles per hour by the end of the century, spreading sounds faster and making them last longer before fading away.
The authors say the marine soundscape is a cacophony, not just from living creatures, but also waves and cracking ice. The warming will also accentuate human-generated sounds like ships and resource extraction.
The researchers studied common vocalizations of the North Atlantic right whale, one of the rarest marine mammals, which recently was found to have decreased 10% in population in just a year. A different study has shown that the whales had lost over 2/3 of their communication space due to noise from passing ships.
Microplastics have been found in all corners of the world, from Antarctica to Mount Everest. So it should come as no surprise that last week, researchers found the pollution in human blood.
Scientists in the Netherlands analyzed blood from 22 healthy adults and found plastic particles in nearly 80% of them. Half the samples contained PET plastic, commonly used in drink bottles, while 1/3 contained polystyrene used in food packaging and other disposable items like cups and utensils. 1/4 of the samples contained polyethylene used to make plastic bags.
The study says microplastics get in our bodies because they're in air and water, and they're also in our food and personal care products, ranging from toothpaste to lip gloss and even tattoo ink. A separate study from 2021 estimated that the average person ingests a credit card's worth of plastic each week.
As The Guardian reports, the study shows that particles can travel around the body and could possibly lodge in organs. Given that plastic pollution is expected to double by 2040, the researchers say further study is needed to understand health impacts, such as whether the tiny fragments are eventually excreted and whether they are getting past the blood-brain barrier.
And finally, speaking of microplastics, when they end up in wastewater, typically treatment plants remove them in 2 steps. First, they skim as much as they can off the surface. The rest are taken out with so-called flocculants, sticky chemicals that attract contaminants to form large clumps or flocks that can be collected.
But many flocculants are potentially harmful, so Rajani Srinivasan at Tarleton State University in Texas wanted to find non-toxic alternatives, so she made a trip to the grocery store to buy okra.
If you've ever eaten okra, you know it can be a bit slimy, but that slime is made up of polysaccharides, and Srinivasan found in previous experiments that the goo worked well to remove textile-based pollutants from water. So she thought, maybe it could work for plastics.
In the lab, she and her students tested polysaccharides not only from okra, but also fenugreek, cactus, aloe vera, and tamarind. After some experimentation, it was found that okra paired with fenugreek worked best at removing microplastics from seawater, while okra paired with tamarind did best in fresh water.
Overall, the plant-based versions worked better than or as well as the traditional flocculants used in treatment plants. Srinivasan says the polysaccharides could be an inexpensive solution for treatment plants in developing countries.
She plans to scale up and commercialize her method so microplastics can be removed from water on an industrial scale, enabling cleaner and safer water for all.
That's it for This Week in Water. Support comes from GC Green, a veteran, woman, and Native American-owned clean energy and resiliency solutions company. Learn more at gcgreen.com.
Hello. Let's try that with the microphone on. Hi. Welcome to the program where we seem to get all the people who want to disagree with me on the program. And I'm wearing a different shirt. I'm wearing a purple shirt because I dribbled. I had a moment and spilt soda all over myself because I was trying to do it quickly. And trying to drink and do stuff during the breaks. I'm not doing it on TV because that's not professional, Tom. We got to be professional now that we're doing this YouTube thing. And I spilled some. So I fixed the issue and we're back. Gotta love a break. So there's that. Hi, how are you? I love Malik. Malik was interesting because I like getting interesting perspectives, but I don't like how they throw us off course too much because, frankly, we have we're not like right wing talkers, or we're just going to check you out. And we want to have a conversation in the long run and maybe learn something and back and forth. But when people aren't going to listen to what you're saying, oh, what's the point? So we move on. So, Malik, hello. And if you want to continue to watch, feel free. Comment on any of the other stories. That's great. But we're moving on from the topics that we were talking about. Not because I think I don't know enough about it, which I don't, but because I want to stay on topic and we got a lot to cover today. And it's much more fun than Ukraine. I don't normally talk about Ukraine. Frankly, I don't talk about Ukraine because I don't like it. I don't like the whole issue. I don't like the war topic, and I think every other place is covering it. So why be? Why be a little different? Why not be a little different? And sorry for the echo. I was trying to pull up an article and pulled up my YouTube clip because that is how you produce a show. I am not one to gloat over somebody else's tragedy. But here I am gloating over somebody else's tragedy. Alex Jones is a right winger. He is a mercenary for the crazy. And he, like Donald Trump, has filed for bankruptcy. I love this story. Because here's the thing. This is the thing about these people on the right. Before I get into this, I don't have $2 to rub together in my bank account right now. Luckily, my bills are kind of covered for this month. But you know, they're covered, so I don't have to worry too much. But that being said, I'm not like Alex Jones studio rich. I mean, you see the equipment we have and I'm not a pretty boy with the turning the frogs gay or anything like that. But as Jim points out, but I gotta say, I'm satisfied with this news. You know, you're not supposed to walk or piss on somebody's grave right after they died, but you know what? Some people you get a pass. You just monumentally get a pass. Like Donald Trump dies tomorrow, walking over his grave and pissing all over it. I will be the P tape. God damn it. That being said, this is just as good. Info companies and other companies owned by Alex Jones are reportedly considering filing for bankruptcy after relatives of the children of Sandy Hook shooting brought lawsuits against the crank. They say conspiracy radio host. I call him a crank. So there's that. According to Bloomberg, Jones sought Chapter 11 protection for 3 of his companies, including conspiracy website InfoWars in southern Texas. The 3 companies each estimated liabilities of $10 million to the filings seen by the network. Under the U.S. Bankruptcy Code, a successful case filed under Chapter 11 would allow the debtor to contribute to operate their continue to operate their business and with court approval borrow money. So basically they are up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. And it is so wonderful that they are going to suck on the tit of the government. This is because his defamation lawsuit last year ended in Jones being found liable after the radio host made false claims the 2012 shooting was a hoax and was motivated by a gun control agenda. Another trial will determine how much Jones will have to pay, and the radio host was also found liable in 3 other lawsuits in Texas. So, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching for the poor people who've gotten ruined by this psychopath. The controversial, they're being so nice here. They should just say the asshole. They're being so generous. The controversial radio show host made repeated bogus remarks and called them lies. Bogus remarks in the aftermath of the Sandy Hook shooting, where 20 children and 6 staff members were killed, claiming that it was staged by politicians, that the grieving parents were crisis actors. In previous court filings seen by Newsweek, Jones's lawyers said their client did not dispute the Sandy Hook shooting happened, but argued that relatives were acting to silence his free speech. Because it's always him, right? It's always about him. My free speech is being silenced. Arr, I gotta stop the frogs from turning gay. I'm on a mission from God. I'm on a mission. God commands me to do this work. Like God is busy looking up people to talk to, and he said, "Oh, right on my Rolodex, Alex Jones. He's the first person I go to." Oh my God! If that's true, send me to hell. If God is looking up on the Rolodex to talk to anybody, and the first person on his list is Marjorie Trader Green and Alex Jones, just send me to hell right now. I will burn there for all eternity. Happily. I will happily burn in hell for all eternity. But, like normal people and rational people, I don't believe that's true. Jones's lawyer, Norman Battis, told Associated Press, "I had the impression watching the attack on Mr. Jones that the trial will be about something far greater than what happened in Sandy Hook. The trial is going to be about ordinary people's ability to say, I'm not buying it, and I want to raise questions, and I want to draw my own conclusions." See, this is all they do, right? They put a little bullshit in a bowl, and they say, "We're just asking questions. We're just drawing questions. We're just we wanna raise our own conclusion. We're free thinkers. We want to be free thinkers." Buckets of macaroni and cheese, my friend Jim. Come on, get with the program. It's buckets of macaroni and cheese the man's selling. Oh my God! Original. This guy misses depositions while going on his show. He got fined, but he's saying he's sick in the head, maybe, but that's left to another judge and jury. We previously reported that Jones had paid fines up to $75,000 before he started to appear in questioning. The deposition Jones later complied with was not over jail time, but the upcoming trial that will determine how much money he owes in damages to the families. Oh my God. Last year, Jones was found guilty by default after his lawyers produced insufficient evidence requested by the plaintiffs. So he doesn't even get good lawyers. Like, dude, even your lawyers suck. And again, I'm not here like celebrating too much, because that's wrong. We're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to be kind, liberal, bleeding hearts. But when you're an asshole and when you're a dickhead, I'm sorry. Why do I hate Alex Jones so much? Oh, Malik, are you sure you're a communist? You had to ask this question. Are you sure you're a communist? You said you were a communist. Like, I've been listening to Alex Jones since before he was a thing. Back when he was just doing conspiracy theories and UFO nonsense on late night Christian radio, where he looked up at the stars and gazed and said, "What happens?" And now it's all about the global elitists coming to take your guns, coming to take your babies because they're going to eat them in the bottom of police pizza store basements. And oh my God, those transgender, by the way, non-binary, those trans kids are going to go into that bathroom and molest your women. That's why I hate Jones. I'm beginning to doubt that you're a communist. Just saying. If you have to ask me why it is that I hate Alex Jones, I doubt your cred as a communist, as you told me earlier, my friend. Sorry to say, but I just don't believe it. Because if you were a communist, you would see what Alex Jones is. He's a capitalistic pig. And, no, he's a capitalistic pig. Oh my God. We're listening to watching. Have this conversation because this is important. Malik, let me help you out on this. I hate anybody who's a bigot, who is racist, who is a complete narcissist, and who believes that the people who lost loved ones. See, I'm from Connecticut, where Sandy Hook happened. All right. I'm from Connecticut, Malik. I know what happened I live about 20 minutes away from Sandy Hook. So, I'm not about to disparage the people who died and the families who died because I'm far away. But Alex Jones can do that. And being socially security and conservative, excuse me, is not a door opener to justify his ridiculous, completely narcissistic, capitalist, gross inability to be a human being. And he did do it. It's on record. There's no if, Malik. It's documented. A court found that he did it. So it's on the air. He records the show, dude. This isn't like me making it up or, just reading from the BBC. He did it. In fact, his ads go so far as to say, I'm fighting against the people who are attacking me and going against your freedom of speech. Please donate to me, as this guy is filing for bankruptcy. That's a particular kind of scumbag you only get in America. And I will rail against him all day long. See, he used to be this, like I said, this conservative that just talked to the wacko people who thought that aliens had a third eye and were at Roswell and all this other bullcrap. Business bankruptcy, all three companies. Malik. No, it's a smart move, but it's also a pussy move. He's a coward. It's a cowardice move. Pussy, probably not the right word to use, being non-binary and trying to be more enlightened, but it is, he is a coward. And he will not face what the family is demanding of him, and the families are demanding of him, which is justice. And if he believed in that sort of thing, he would. Yeah, no, that is true. A good point, Jim. Strangely enough, he decided to declare bankruptcy after the loss of defamation case and after his settlement offer was rejected. So this is another case. This is another case of a conservative not getting their way and saying, "Fight me." Instead of taking, oh my God, what's that thing they talk about all the time? Personal responsibility. They talk about taking personal responsibility and this, that, and the other thing all the livelong day. And yet here is Alex Jones on his business side not taking personal responsibility for the actions he did in business. So instead, you have it where, I mean, frankly, it's an O.J. Simpson kind of move. And it's not shocking to me that he's done this. It's abhorrent to me, and it bothers me, but it's not at all shocking. It's if anything, it's depressing as hell. So there's that. There's Alex Jones for you, Dick. Yeah, I like Dick better than I like. I do like Dick better than I like Pussy because less of a disparaging remark against women, and I like Pussy. Pussy is nice, and Pussy can mean kitty cat too. And we don't want to piss off some cute little kitty cat now, do we? We don't want to do that. So there are primaries going on. You might not know that, and it's primary season, and I'm not going to have enough time to do this story because I really want to get into this story. So we're gonna play the Roger Stone video, since he correlates so well with Alex Jones. The Roger Stone video calling Ron DeSantis a piece of shit. I love it. Now, I love it when they invite, because it shows their true colors. They have no real loyalty except to the bottom line. The bottom dollar and how much they can make off you is their true loyalty. We see it with Alex Jones, right? We see it with how he goes after things. And he is the quintessential guy who is to like somebody like Roger Stone, and Roger Stone likes somebody who likes Donald Trump. And when they see each other, all the goodness happens, and it's just frankly wonderful. And I love it. I love this story. I pulled it from Newsweek and got the video from Patriot Takes. And it's edited, and I didn't edit. I like full context for things, but this is as truthful as you're gonna get, and this is just lovely. Here we have good old Ron DeSantis.
Roger! How could I not see my God bless you.
So it cuts out to stone cold truth, and he said Ron DeSantis is a piece of shit. Now Roger Stone has a beef with Ron DeSantis because Ron DeSantis is cock blocking Donald Trump's way to the presidency for 2024, and he's taken hot air from the 2024 Trump train and fundraising and the grift and all that fun stuff. So Roger Stone sees our friend Ron DeSantis, the single most gayest man in Florida. I'm an asshole. What can I say? Protecting the children, the protector of all children. I'm sure he never did anything wrong in a bathroom or bathtub for that matter. I can't stand this son of a bitch. I really can't. He is a piece of shit. But Roger Stone and I believe that Ron DeSantis is a piece of shit for two different reasons. I believe Ron DeSantis is a piece of shit because of his legislative ideas and policy that he has put forth. Roger Stone believes he's a piece of shit because, like I said, he's cock blocking Donald Trump to the nomination, and you can't. You got to be loyal, man. You gotta dig in and be loyal. You can't be doing none of this bullshit. So you have on one hand, you have the Alex Jones mayhem, where he just will not give the families a victory. And on the other hand, you have Roger Stone, which is, of course, true. We'll be right back. We're live. I need to take a break. And it'll be a little long one. But we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Laura Flanders of The Laura Flanders Show, where I interview the best thinkers and doers of our time. On TV, the show premieres Sundays at 11:30 Eastern on PBS World and at the Laura Flanders Show YouTube channel. You can join my guests and me every week there in the live viewing party, and then catch us all week on public television stations. Prefer to listen? Find us on a radio station near you or subscribe to the free podcast. You'll find listings and ways to subscribe at lauraflanders.org. That's also where you'll receive my regular commentaries. I call them the F word. Here's this week's. In the middle of a brutal assault, it's difficult to talk about demilitarization, and so it was with trepidation that I convened a conversation about exactly that this month. One of my guests, Anastasia Lukhina, a war refugee from Ukraine, has a degree in peace building from Notre Dame University. In regular times, she said, she'd describe herself as a sort of peacenik, but now, quote, considering the situation and the losses we have on the ground, we really need military assistance and we really need modern warfare, and we need as much of it as we can get as soon as possible, she said. More warfare is certainly coming, even if Russian forces draw back from Kyiv and negotiations reach a deal. The conflict's already seen massive growth in weapons spending by the EU and NATO, even by countries like Germany and Denmark, who've been spending down for years. Russian spending is up and the US leads the pack. The Biden administration's proposed Pentagon budget for 2023 stands at $813 billion, bigger in real terms than ever before and as bloated as ever. And spending on Ukraine is only a tiny fraction of it. As Phyllis Bennis of the Institute for Policy Studies pointed out, the payment of billions of dollars on new weapons systems failed to prevent Russia's invasion. Indeed, Vladimir Putin used NATO's buildup as one of his excuses for it. As Phyllis put it on air, while there's an inevitable urgency for all things military right now, we know that greater militarization creates more problems afterwards. The idea of a neutral Ukrainian state gets fainter with every war crime. But if the US and NATO resume their military exercises in Ukraine, the risk of war with Russia will stay with us. In the end, my guests agreed that what's needed for a sustainable peace will be a victory in the war and an equal investment in the architecture of peace, and not just the president-to-president kind, but the people-to-people sort. Gesturing to a book on his shelf published by anti-war activists in 1913, Dmitry Makarov, zooming in from Russia, suggested that in today's interconnected world, we're much better equipped to communicate globally now than we ever were, and every local crisis has global implications. Could the OSCE, the UN, or the Council of Europe be empowered to monitor and constrain not just Russia's arms deals, but everyone's? Could today's sanctions regime provide a model? Conversations like this aren't easy, but we're going to need more of them, and they won't come on media networks underwritten by arms manufacturers. That's why I'm happy to be launching Season 3 of The Laura Flanders Show on PBS stations this week. Scholars of authoritarianism say that mind control begins with the limiting of options, a lopping off of a whole set of realities and choices. Dissenters say that what makes a difference is practice. And this conversation felt like practice. Practice in holding two things together at the same time. The need to stop this war and to work across national boundaries to prevent the next one. You can find my conversation with Ukrainian professor Anastasia Lukhina, Russian human rights defender Dmitry Makarov, and Phyllis Bennis, director of the New Internationalism Project at the Institute for Policy Studies, on PBS stations this week, or find it on YouTube. For The Laura Flanders Show, I'm Laura. Thanks for listening.
Just disappears on me. My mouse just went, what? No, we're gone. We're going to take a hiatus. Okay, Tom. You're listening to Tom Reynolds, the Nosey Liberal. I am Tom Reynolds. Let's see. Yes, I agree that Biden will have a much tougher time with DeSantis, because DeSantis has a regular Joe feel, and I'm just trying to help the kids, and they just claim Joe Biden is senile for 2 years, and they won. You can't quite do that with Donald Trump, scary orange man. So there's that. Absolutely right there, Jim. So welcome to the program. We are live. Let's see. I really want to do 3 hours, but I know a but coming on. I'm not going to be able to. I'm running out of gas and my back is killing me. So we're going to enjoy this half hour together, and we will be back for a full hour. Come what may. 3 hours tomorrow. I'm just literally sliding, and it frankly it's my back, and I knew this would be an issue trying to do 3 hours, and I'm hoping that I can find something for my back that is not medicated, something that's not medicine related, and really do well with it. But until then, you're stuck with shows that might not last the whole 3 hours as much as I want them to. But what I'm going to try to do, because I'm going to come back tonight and do an 8 o'clock show, I'm going to probably attach the 8 o'clock show to the morning show and run that the first hour. And then if you missed the 8 o'clock show, you can come back and do it that way and go from there, and we'll do it and go back and forth. Sound fair? Sounds fair. And we'll just go from there. And we'll get there. I just want to be more open and honest with you guys, and because I want the participation, I really do. But I don't want people like, why aren't you talking back to me? Can I do the second hour standing? It would be the third hour standing, and no. Not the way my computer works. I don't have the ability to do the third hour standing. Yeah, no. I am looking for a new chair though. Any ideas, any links? That would be completely and wonderfully helpful, because if I lean back, I am totally nice and wonderful, and then if I move forward and get upright and try to maneuver in the right way so y'all see me properly, then it starts to hurt. And I gotta find a way where I can feel that this is comfortable for the both of us and do a 3-hour show. Although I'll tell you one thing, the participation from you guys is great in the Twitch and the YouTube. That makes me really want to do 3 hours. So I promise tomorrow we will at least do 2.5 hours and try and kick it back up to 3. I'm gonna see if I can get some help for the third hour, but we'll have something. Only because I don't like disappointing people, but I also got to be honest and say what I'm capable of. And if I'm not capable of doing it, it really sucks. So there is that. I I have thought about doing some other things, but we're not quite there yet, and I haven't decided if I can commit to that yet. So I'll keep you in the loop. 2 hours are not going away, but unfortunately, my back is curved, so it hurts if I am in a certain way for a period of time, and it makes it very uncomfortable. Let me tell you something about uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is reading this next story that I'm gonna share with you guys on the Twitter. And that's where I share all the stories. If you want to know if it's not a video story, I share all the stories on the Twitter machine. But this story is near and dear to my heart, and it really it pisses me off. And I think we need to talk about it, because it's important, because this is what's going to happen now. Like, mark my words, this is going to be how the right wing go against people who are of different identities, who seek to be known and recognized as different identities. This is what's going to happen. And this story should be everywhere. I hate, pet peeve. I hate that my friends that are liberal and good progressives, I hate that they don't go to more right wing sites. It really bothers me, because and not because, like, I want to give them more media attention or clicks or whatever, but because it's like going to a strategy session. before it goes nationwide. You see what they're going to do, like what little bombs they're going to drop on us next. And you get hints on how they're going to behave nationally. And then, oh my God, the next day you see it on Fox News. And you're ahead of the game. Like, it's not hard to do. It travels from the QAnon to the Breitbart, to the Blaze, to the Newsmax, to the OAN, to the Fox News, and then it's mainstream. It's not hard. And this is a repetitive thing. And like what Alex Jones is good at doing is he goes, oh, I have all these corporate media, the Business Insider, Forbes magazine, I have all these sources and tell you how the global elites are behaving, and has all this stuff that he can throw together at you and be like, okay, this is how my batshit crazy matches to make sense. And here we have true batshit crazy happening in the courts right now, and this is damaging. Ohio University pays $400,000 in damages to professor who refused to use students' preferred pronouns. So, the professor, after being called out by the student, didn't want to use the preferred pronouns of the student. The student said, I'm going to get you fired. And basically did. But now, a public university in Ohio will pay $400,000 to a philosophy professor who refused to use the student's preferred pronouns. It comes 4 years after a school punished the professor for not using a student's preferred pronouns. So the school did the right thing. The student did the right thing. The court did the wrong thing. The legal team for the professor argued that the university violated the professor's First Amendment rights. I have a First Amendment right to say whatever I say about who you are. So Nick Merriweather responded to a trans female, it says biological male in the article, by saying, yes, sir. The student confronted Merriweather and declared to be transgender, as they said. And the student took action against his bigotry. And the school did the right thing. But Alliance Defending Freedom, well, they done went after the school. They done did get their freedom on, because that's what you have to do in America. You got to get your freedom on. Because Merriweather would only address the student by the individual's first or last name, but the student insisted on the professor not being a bigot, and Shawnee State University rejected the compromise and claimed that he effectively created a hostile environment, which he did. And they argued successfully that the school violated the First Amendment rights and his 14th Amendment right to due process. They won in appeals. This should scare everybody. I can say what I want to say. I want to say the N-word. You're impeding my First Amendment right. I should be able to say the N-word. I don't care that you're offended. How dare you be offended? I'm offended that you're offended that I can't say the N-word. This is where it's headed. On Thursday, the Alliance Defending Freedom announced that Meriwether had won his case against the university. Shawnee State University will pay $400,000 in damages and attorney's fees to settle the federal lawsuit with Meriwether. Gag me. The ADF claims that this case forced us to defend what used to be a common belief that nobody should be forced to contradict their core beliefs just to keep their job. You're not contradicting your core beliefs. You're treating a human being with humanity, you putz. And they're claiming Meriwether, the doctor, went out of his way to accommodate his students and treat them all with dignity and respect, yet his university punished him because he wouldn't endorse an ideology that he believes is false. They're going after my First Amendment rights, baby. I mean, literally, oh my God, they're using it. I'm defending freedom now. I'm defending freedom. What sick, demented? What about the other person's freedom to feel like a normal human being? And be treated with respect and dignity? Does that go away because you're... So, Meriwether's freedom is more important than the trans woman's respect and dignity, according to this federal judge panel. That's exactly my point, Jim. So if he sincerely believes that people should be called the N-word, then what? Freedom. I sincerely believe that you should be able to use the N-word no matter what you want to use it. And then just use it. Unabashed N-word usage. It's in my core beliefs, my First Amendment rights. I believe, baby. Why are you gonna take that away from me? Why are you gonna take it away from me? Why is a white person? Are you gonna take my freedom away from me? Because they're my personal core beliefs. It doesn't. I don't need to treat you with dignity and respect just because you happen to believe this way. I mean, come on. This is what we're faced with on the right. But there's no difference between the right and the left. The right fundamentally believes that you can say, you have a penis, you were born with a penis, you're he. I believe it. And you know what? I do not care one iota about your dignity, and I do not care about your rights as a human being and an individual. I believe, I see you as a biological man. You have a PP, as Tara Devlin would say. Or as our friend Matt Cawthorn would say, a tallywhacker. You have them there tallywhacker. So let me point out to you, my friend with that there tallywhacker, that you, sir, are a sir. And I'll address you as your name, but I will not call you madam because you want me to. It offends my sensibilities. Oh, get me the fainting couch. For the love of Christ, get me the fainting couch. Good point. I bet if the student decided to call him Professor D-Bag in public, they would have been expelled. Excellent point. Or anything else, for that matter. Cracker. Professor Cracker. I'm assuming he's white. And they are okay with this. Like this is where we're at our political discourse. As Jim points out, misnaming and weaponizing language is okay for the right. When does that become okay? Why is it okay? Where are our allies? And it's like, and I'm having like this issue with being an ally and being basically trans myself, being non-binary. I'm having this personal. I totally agree. Capitalism is to blame. Absolutely, Jim. But I'm gonna one up you. I'm gonna one up you, Jim. We have only ourselves to blame because we allow capitalism to fester in our society. We have not eradicated capitalism as a thing. So because we have not eradicated capitalism as a thing, we have the ability for Alex Jones to go bankrupt. We have the ability for the industrial military complex to run ringshot over our political system. And we have the ability for a professor to get $400,000 of our taxpayer money for being a bigot. And it's a state university, so it's taxpayer money. And the right wing sees this as a win. This is an awful, awful way to go. This is horrifying. Here we are. Here we are in a system that allows this to fester, that allows it to matriculate into society, that allows it to be a thing. It should really piss you off. Like, especially if you're an ally. Even if you're not an ally, but especially if you're an ally and you know somebody who's trans or who is you watch the show, you know me. But if you know, I highlight these stories because not only are they important to me, they should be important to everybody in our community. And our community needs to do better. And it's not just enough to be it's not just enough to be an ally anymore. You have to really stand and fight. And I applaud people like Robin Kincaid who are doing something that I could never do and run for office. I don't have the cojones to do that. Jim says cooperation, kindness, altruism are all viewed as a weakness in the capitalist value system. Absolutely. By the way, the prosperity gospel value system as well. If you believe in that prosperity gospel nonsense and you happen to believe in cooperation and kindness and altruism, yeah, you're shipped out of there with everybody else, with them their gays. Just saying. I think we had a good show today. I'm sorry that I ran out of gas. I really am. I do have some other stories that I want to cover, but I'll cover them tonight. I need to get out of this chair. We will be here at 8 o'clock tonight. New show, FY reports. I'm gonna do it, and it's gonna be live, and we're gonna do a different way of doing the show. But it should be fun. I I really hate that I cannot do a. Oh, we're not leaving yet. No, we're having a little conversation. I really hate that I cannot do a 3-hour show right now for whatever reason. It really, like, I am fired up to get going right in the morning, and I almost want to start at 8 o'clock, and I can't. And then I kind of peter out and wind down. And by the time 11 o'clock comes, I'm just like, ooh. And it's a little rough. But I'm getting the hang of it, and I'm figuring it out, and we'll get there. I want to be able to do the best show for you. And if I cannot communicate well like we did in the first and the second hour, the third hour is going to stink. And I don't want to be the one to say the third hour stinks. I want to be able to produce a show that I am happy with people coming out to and saying, "Oh, that's a good show. I like what they're doing. Let me watch that. Let me contact him or them." Oh my god, I just misgendered myself. It doesn't matter because I don't care. See, that's the thing about being non-binary. It doesn't bother me. But if it bothers somebody, like we were talking about earlier, it should really circle back to being humane. I find it strange that conservatives. Somebody pointed this out on TikTok, so it's not original. But I find it funny that conservatives have this thing about pronouns for dogs and animals and pets and gendering. They want to. Hello, Goku. They want to gender animals correctly. But God forbid you gender a person correctly. An animal doesn't know he, she, it from there. But God forbid, you know? And by the way, nobody would ever, Star Trek reference of the day, nobody would ever misgender the USS Enterprise as he. It's a she, damn it. And it is how it is. She's a good ship. So that's just, I mean, how we roll here. But so there's that. Coming into the final bit of the hour, not much left to talk about, but I do want to remind everybody, 8 o'clock show tonight. I will be here. Unlike Saturday when I thought I would be there and I just was not feeling good. See, health issues suck when you have them. And you don't have socialized medicine. See, I could go on a whole rant just for an hour about socialized medicine if, like, I had something for my back. If I could just lay down and do the show and do it laying down, and I didn't think it would be completely weird, I would like, this is actually comfortable. Like, this position I'm in right now is slightly comfortable. It's weird, but it's comfortable. But if I could do a show, right, and it was totally laying down, that would be perfect. Maybe I can do one suspended, in suspended animation. That might work for me. We'll figure it out. We'll get there. But I don't like being half-assed, and it's the point. And I like to be whole-assed. So we'll get there. And So, yeah, Jim, you are right. We're dead still. I'm Donald Trump. On that note, bye, everybody. Stay safe. We'll be back tomorrow. 3 hours. At least 2.5. I promise. And we'll talk soon. Bye for now.